Hello everyone, and welcome to my Arknights video on the top 5 mistakes to avoid making as a beginner. I made some of these mistakes myself when I first started playing, so I want to share them with you so that way you'll have a smoother gameplay experience than I did. So let's get into the mistakes. The first mistake is automatically assuming that a higher rarity character is going to be better than a lower rarity character. Now in Arknights, we have anything from a 2-star character, which is this yellow background. Then we have 3-star characters, which all have a blue background. 4 stars with the white background. 5 stars with this kind of a light gold background. And then 6 stars have a dark orangey gold background. So automatically, coming from other gacha games, I assumed that any higher rarity, the 5 stars and above, was the ones I'm supposed to be using all the time. But when you're progressing through the campaign, units have something called a DP, or deployment cost. So let's take a look at Seiza. Here, his cost, which is denoted by the C marker, is 24. And DP can regenerate very slowly in certain missions. So Seiza here is a ranged crossbow character. So let's go and look at Cruz. Cruz only has a deployment cost of 9, but she's a 3-star. However, you can still promote her to Elite 1, level 55, which is more than enough to get you through quite a lot of the campaign. Now, if you're waiting for 9 points to regenerate versus Seiza's 24 points, that's a big difference. So when you're working on the campaign stages, you're going to need to use mostly these lower cost units. Like, for example, we have Orchid. She's a slow caster. She's got a DP cost of 10. And then if we look at Suzerain, Suzerain's cost is 14, which isn't as much of a huge difference. However, if you don't have any higher tier units with a pretty low cost, then it can be considerable. Another good example here, let me find her, is this character Aurora. She's a tank defender character. She's got a cost of 28, whereas Cardigan here only costs 18. So again, you just don't want to assume that because a character is a higher rarity, that they're automatically better. Now, a way that you can reduce the character's deployment cost is, of course, by using copies of them. So for instance, this character, Caper, has been upgraded with the potential. So potential in other games, if you're thinking about it, that's like Eidolons or Constellations. It just means you get a copy of the character, and this reduces the deployment cost. So once you start getting these copies of the character, that'll make it a lot easier to use higher rarity. So again, you just want to make sure that you're utilizing the lower tier characters to get yourself through the campaign. So the second mistake is not taking advantage of store items when they're there for free. Now what I mean by store items is primarily this credit store. Now you will get some credits every day just by collecting them. You also get them from the clue exchange in your base, and you can get them by visiting friends. So for example, I already bought this copy of Durnar that's there today, but anytime that you see a character on this store, you want to get that because these credits are really easy to get. You don't really have to put a lot of effort in. So some of the first characters that you will see available for credits, you will see, find him here, you will see Courier. Courier should be available on your store, and you will see Gavial, and those are going to be the first 2 that you should see, and you want to make sure that you get copies of them whenever they're up to max them out. And then, for example, the one that I have currently is Durnar. Where's she at? Yeah, this is the one that I'm working on right now. And then once you have bought all of the copies of the character available in the store, then you will start to see different characters cycle through. Now, I would primarily just get characters with the credits from the credit store. However, if you see like recruitment passes and the expedited plans to speed up recruitment, I would get those as well. And if you're just starting out, then you may need to get some resources or some carbon to help with your base. Now, one of the other store items that I want to point out is the purchase certificates. You can earn this currency from doing a daily stage. Now, it's not available every day, but it is Tough Siege, and it is open on Monday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, and you will get a decent amount of them from doing these stages. And that makes it easy to get and upgrade certain operators from that certificate. So for example, the ones that I have maxed out are Ethan and Caper. And I would primarily focus on maxing out these 4 stars first, because like I covered in the first mistake, you want to utilize lower rarity over higher rarity. And these higher rarity, these 5 stars, these are going to take a lot of farming, because you're going to need 3,600 certificates total versus just the like 750 or whatever that these guys are. And something else I want to point out in the story is that when you start getting enough duplicate characters, there's actually a tab down here at the bottom that says Token Exchange. If you click on this, you can turn in all of those duplicate character copies, and you can get certificates. So as you can see, we got a heck ton of certificates, and this will enable you to get these free permits, and then the rundum and the recruitment permits. These 3 here that I have bought, the hunting permit, the rundum, and the recruitment permits, these are probably the most useful. Now, if you have a ton of extra accommodations and you want to, you can move into the higher tiers of the store. But personally, for myself, I've just been doing the first one, because you want to make sure that you can at least get some of these every time they refresh. You can also do that, for example, with the other types of token from different rarities. So we'll go ahead and do that. Got some more certificates. I don't think we've got anything to exchange there. So you just want to keep in mind about that token exchange, so that way it'll make your life easier to get some more currency and some more pools. And then that brings us to point number 3, which is using support units. It makes you able to use auto battle. So you can borrow units from your friends. We're going to take a look at Tough Siege. So for example, I can auto deploy to this stage as many times as I have stamina for. And that's because I cleared it myself. But what I want to show you is, say we click on start and I click on support unit, and I add a support unit. If I were to clear the stage with 3 stars with the support unit, I would not be able to auto battle this stage. Now, that's not as much of an issue when you're clearing a campaign stage, but for anything in the supplies tab, like a farmable resource that you might need, I would strongly advise against using the support units, just because you need to be able to farm these faster for dailies. Also, I would probably advise against doing it, for example, for an event, because if you use them in an event, you also won't be able to auto-battle the event stages. So just make sure that you're mindful of when you're using those support units. Now, I do know that using a friend support unit does actually count as a mission. Now, I have my dailies done, but if we look at dailies, yeah, see, clear any stage using a support unit 1 time. I mean, I guess you could manually do 1 stage with a support unit if you really wanted to, and you can't get your dailies done any other way. But generally, just avoid using them on stages you might want to repeat. And even when you're looking at the main story, for example, if I wanted to farm this stage, I could get these different items from farming the stage. Like the, what's this, the Akaton. So it depends what resources you need for your characters as to whether you want to use a support unit there or not. So on our 4th mistake, it would be not upgrading the base. So you unlock the base during your tutorials, and when you go into the base, it's kind of just like a home instance. So we can actually look at all the different floors. But it's also easier to have a zoomed out mode. Now, some of the most useful things here in the base is that we're going to have the workshop, And the workshop is where you can produce items. Now my base is currently tier 2. I'm almost going to be able to upgrade it to tier 3 soon. One of the most important things is the carbon to make these building materials, because you need building materials for both furniture parts and to unlock other rooms in your base. There's also upgrade materials, which is really useful because you can convert these low tier materials into the next tiers. You can do the same thing with skill summary. You can convert ships. So say you have too many ships, like I have 11 sniper ships. I have too many, like say I need sniper ships, but I have too many caster ships, I can convert them. So you just want to look at them, and then you can bounce different ones around based on what you need. Now this furniture tab doesn't actually create any furniture. What it does is recycle the starter furniture that you're given into furniture parts to build different furniture. Then when you look at the reception room, this is where you get clues. So you can send out, you assign 2 operators and they find clues. And then when all of the clues are assembled, it unlocks the clue exchange, which gives extra bonus credits for friends when they visit your base. Your operators will bring back a clue. You can claim it. As you can see, you get a credit reward here, which is great. You also get clues received from friends. And oops, I clicked past that too quickly. You can also send a clue to a friend. So for instance, I'm going to click on this. This highlights that this person doesn't have it. We'll send it and we'll get 20 credits. So it's an easy way to get the credits. The office provides a bonus for recruitment, so you want to make sure that you unlock this building as soon as you can, because recruiting faster and more efficiently, it'll also get you like different tags. Like just upgrading it is going to benefit you in the long run. Now these other buildings over here you use this more for dailies. For example, we're collecting XP, so you can produce XP materials. You can send out some orders. And then something I do want to point out about the base is you assign operators to the control center. See, their morale is going down right now. And then they're restoring morale to the people who are in here who have no morale. So basically after about 7.5 hours, they'll be at full morale. The morale of the units is like how much they can work in the building before they get tired. But the 3 buildings over here on the right, the workshop, the reception room, the office, these are the 3 most useful buildings, which is why you want to make sure that you're upgrading your base. And then the last mistake that I want to point out is recruiting in 10 pool instead of individually. So for example, on this banner here, it says guarantees a 5-star or higher operator in the next 10 rolls. So that means that you have a boosted rate to get either a 5-star or a 6-star in those 10 rolls. I really don't recommend going past them because these banners change out quite frequently. For example, this one ends in the next 2 days. Now I do want to point out that the Colonel headhunt is like a different kind of headhunt compared to the other ones. The Colonel headhunt is considered a standard banner, and all of these other banners are considered limited banners. But again, I would just recommend that you pull individually when you do this, just because you might get the 5-star or higher without needing to spend the 10 rolls. For example, one time I got a 5-star and it only took me 3 pulls. So don't do it all at once unless you really want to, because you want to conserve as much pull currency as possible. And then the last thing I want to mention is really just an honorable mention. Just don't let your stamina cap. For example, I have 110 stamina out of 120 possible. And so what you want to do is make sure that you're spending it. If you're not doing some story, then probably the next best use is to farm the certificates or farm the XP if you need the XP. Another good one when it's open is resource search to get yourself enough building materials to upgrade your base. And there we have it. That is the top 5 mistakes to avoid in the game Arknights. I hope you found this video informative. And as always, questions and comments are welcomed.